Welcome to the Ambleside Online Modified Curriculum Options video. If you haven't watched the Ambleside Online curriculum video, that is the main video that you should watch first. This is supplementary to that video and is going to talk about the unofficial curriculum options that are available on the Ambleside Online site. This is not the main official curriculum options. So start there and then come back and watch this video. So when we come to the Ambleside curriculum or the Ambleside Online homepage, we have a drop-down menu here, Curriculum, and you'll see Curriculum Overview here. And you'll actually see some of our modified curriculum options here, including AO for Groups, Canada version, and Emergency Help. We also have a link to the overview of the main curriculum here in the center of the page. So we'll click on that. If these columns are stacked on your screen, it's because they do render differently on a mobile or a smaller screen. And so that doesn't mean that you're on the wrong site. It just means that it's going to show up differently on a smaller screen for you or on a smaller browser screen. Okay, so let's go to the curriculum overview. And then here in the center of the page is where we're going to find our modified curriculum options. Again, if you have not watched the video for the main curriculum, we would recommend that you would do that first and then come back and watch this video. So let's start here at the top. Year 3.5. This year here is a year, it's an unofficial year, and it's designed to be picked up at any point during term 1. So if you've already started year 4 and you realize you're in over your head and your child is not thriving the way that you would hope that they would, and you feel that you're convicted that they actually need an additional year before you begin year 4, year 3.5 is that transitional year book list that is an option for you. Again, it's an unofficial year. It lacks historical chronology like the other years because it is an interim book list for students who have completed year 3 but need an additional year to be ready for the more advanced pace of year 4. There is a book list and a schedule that you can go to, and it's in the same format as the other school years that we've talked about in the previous video. Okay, pre-7. This is a unofficial school year though it's not a full year actually. It's a book list for those planning to enter year 7 without first covering years 1 through 6. If you came in late or you transitioned into Ambleside Online and your child has not gone through years 1 through 6, they've compiled a list of books, Ambleside Online books, that are considered prerequisite preparatory reading for years 7 and up. And so you will find the list here, and because of the individualized nature of a plan like this, some may have already read many of these books, and some may have started homeschooling in the middle of the year and only have a term or a summer to work on this. So it isn't possible to formulate into a 36-week schedule, and therefore there is no schedule, as you'll see over here in the quick links. It is basically a list of books that are not to be missed and prerequisite to beginning year 7. And so that completes here. There are free reading books here. These are ones that they consider essential from all the Ambleside Online lists or Ambleside Online years. And then we have further reads here that can be incorporated into future years, but not necessarily squeezed in prior to year 7. Maybe they could be incorporated into weekend reading or free reading in future years. And then I love this. Others we can't bear not to mention, though we must stop somewhere. Yes, they are book people. Ambleside Online Advisory and Auxiliary are book people, and so therefore it's hard to stop anywhere because there's just always so much more. So don't feel terrible. There are always books that we cannot get to. We can't get to it all. And no matter what you do, it's better that you do Ambleside Online than that you're doing public school or anything like that. So if you can't get to it all, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. that's there for you. Again, it's not an official school year. It is a resource for you and a help, and it's there to have you make use of for your child's benefit and not to shove down their throat and force on them. So don't beat yourself up over the head. And again, see it as a resource and a tool, not as a burden, I guess. Years 7, 8, 9 in 2 years, years 9, 10, 11 in 2 years, and years 7 to 12 in 5 years. These are accelerated years. The reason why people may want to use an accelerated year are to maybe catch up so that people can, or so that their students can do a year 12, which has a lot of worldview books and content that is very helpful as they head out into the world. Maybe they did a year 3.5 and see that they're only going to make it to year 11 by the time their student graduates. And so instead of doing that, maybe they're considering one of these options to be able to squeeze 3 years into 2 years so that they can still have a full year 12 year. Also, sometimes students in the high school years want to dive in and focus deeper into certain areas. For example, ancient times or medieval times, or maybe they want to just really focus in and go deeper into some of these areas out of preference. And so in those cases, these can be useful to help parents be able to manage to do an accelerated program for these independent years in a shorter amount of time. It is not recommended that you run through Ambleside in a rush by doing both years 7, 8, 9 in 2 years and 9, 10, 11 in 2 years. That is definitely not recommended. You can see it does tell you what's being left out, what's not scheduled, so that you can look at that and consider it and consult it first for free reading options, so that you can make those choices and make an informed decision on what you want to include or not include, and know what you're leaving out. Unofficial Year 12. This is going to a personal curriculum year for Leslie's son, who was doing his senior year, what he was doing for his senior year. And Year 12 students will typically be holding down a job, finalizing college plans, and preparing for their life after high school, and may thus have less time for academics than in previous years. And so there's helps with the schedule here, and this delves a little bit deeper into ancient history. And AO for groups. This is an option for people who may have a co-op, a large family with multiple children, and or a cottage school, or perhaps a church school where there's multiple children in multiple years, but not enough to have everybody in individual years. And so this is a light and streamlined version of the AO for Ambleside Online official curriculum. And the way that this works is that children are put into forms. Form 1, Form 2, and Form 3. Grades 1, 2, and 3, grades 4, 5, and 6, and grades 7, 8, and 9. And they are kind of lumped together in these years, and you are therefore able to do less years because you're having them in forms rather than years. And so there's a lot of explanation here on this, and there is a separate video on how to make use of Ambleside Online for groups, so that's more in-depth information if you're looking for that. The Canada version is for years 1 through 6, and it is meant to be integrated in with the regular Ambleside Online curriculum. And so it is not a full curriculum in and of itself. It integrates into the existing Ambleside Online curriculum. And so you'll see year 0 here and year 1, and then they do have a schedule by week. And so where there are books listed, these are going to be swapped out for the regular curriculum options that are there. And so you can read quite a bit on here. It's a really well thought out introduction and description of the Canadian Ambleside Online that came out of those who live and are Canadian, live in Canada, who are in Canada, and who wanted to use Ambleside Online for their families. And it's just a beautiful thing that volunteers do take Ambleside Online and are able to contribute to it in this way. The Ambleside Online Help Emergency Lesson Plan. This is a minimalist approach to learning. It's a free, completely user-friendly curriculum plan for homeschooling families who need support, encouragement, and alternatives to the curriculum that they may have lost in a disaster, or maybe they're in a family crisis and need to just scale back and do what's minimal. Also may be any churches or other groups needing to set up an immediate temporary school situation for children who may not have homeschooled. And I think we saw that with COVID. We were forced into a situation, the entire country was in the world, into a situation where people may have needed an emergency curriculum like this one. And so the only thing you need to access are a computer and a printer, paper and pencil. Everything else is provided online for free. And I just love this. I'm going to read it. We know that there are more important things than missed schooling during a crisis, but sometimes in the midst of disasters, creating a small oasis of normalcy and continuity is very important. In the midst of such a disaster, grown-ups with many urgent details on their minds cannot focus on thinking up things for children to do, and it's our prayer that this free resource will fill a need. The most important things to do during a disaster are simple things that bring the family together. And so that's what this curriculum focuses on. And you can go through by subject here. It talks about reading the Bible and history and singing songs together and a lot of good stuff here. So that is what the emergency help curriculum is. And that is the end of our modified curriculum options video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to visit us. If you go to the bottom of the website, you'll see Connect with AO here. You can contact us on the Ambleside Online Forum, on Facebook, in our Facebook group. We also have Instagram and MeWe. But the best place to contact and get feedback and help is on the Ambleside Online Forum. So we would just recommend that you go there. And thanks for joining us. And we hope that you're able to use Ambleside Online and make use of it for your family and your needs.